Ethan stared blankly at his phone, rereading the same job offer again. He had typed and deleted his response 11 times that morning. What if accepting became the worst decision of his entire career? What if declining meant losing an opportunity he would never receive again? One ordinary email created several frightening futures inside his mind. This was not unusual. Ethan overthought nearly every important decision afterward. Simple messages consumed afternoons because every sentence somehow sounded completely wrong. He replayed conversations at midnight, searching for mistakes nobody else mentioned. Even choosing lunch sometimes became an exhausting argument inside his head. The harder Ethan searched for certainty, the more uncertain he became. But calming overthinking may not require controlling every thought you experience. Sometimes changing your response to thoughts can loosen their powerful grip. Today, we'll explore 5 practical skills commonly used within different therapies. Each one helped Ethan respond differently when his thoughts started circling. Stay until the fifth because it finally helped him move forward. I'm Ayan, and Ethan's fictional story begins with an approaching deadline. The new position offered better pay, meaningful work, and creative freedom. However, accepting meant leaving the familiar colleagues he already trusted deeply. Ethan needed to enter the company before Friday afternoon finally arrived. He believed several days of research would make his choice completely obvious. Instead, every new answer produced another question he could not resolve. By Wednesday, Ethan was comparing salaries, reviews, schedules, and imaginary disasters. His mind appeared productive, but it kept revisiting the same uncertainties. Youthful reflection usually moves toward a decision, plan, or practical action. Overthinking often circles identical questions without producing meaningfully different information. Ethan did not need another prediction, he needed another response instead. The first skill involved creating some distance from his worrying thoughts. This approach is often called cognitive diffusion within acceptance and commitment therapy. Ethan began by naming what was actually happening inside his mind. Instead of saying, I will fail, he changed the sentence slightly. He said, I'm noticing the thought that I might fail. Those additional words did not make the concern disappear completely. They simply identified it as a thought rather than established reality. A frightening thought can feel convincing without becoming an accurate prediction. Ethan imagined his thoughts appearing like words upon slowly passing clouds. He noticed each one without immediately arguing, obeying, or suppressing it. The goal was never forcing every uncomfortable thought to disappear permanently. Struggling against thoughts can sometimes keep attention tightly attached to them. Diffusion gave Ethan a pause before deciding what deserved his attention. That small pause prepared him for the second practical therapy-based skill. Skill 2 brought Ethan's attention back toward the present physical moment. Overthinking repeatedly carried him into imagined futures and rewritten past conversations. Grounding helped him reconnect with what was genuinely happening around him. Before an important meeting, Ethan felt another mental spiral beginning. He identified 5 things he could see inside his parked car. He noticed 4 sensations, including his feet resting against the floor. Then came 3 sounds, 2 smells, and 1 lingering taste. Ethan noticed distant traffic, cool air, sunlight, and his steady breathing. The exercise did not answer whether he should accept the position. However, it redirected his attention long enough to respond more intentionally. Whenever his attention wandered, Ethan gently returned without attacking himself. Grounding was not an emergency button guaranteed to eliminate anxious feelings. It was simply one way to reconnect with the present moment. Some worries still returned, leading Ethan toward the third useful skill. Therapists sometimes describe this technique as scheduled worry or worry postponement. Ethan chose 15 minutes every evening specifically for reviewing his concerns. When worries appeared earlier, he briefly recorded them for later consideration. Then he reminded himself, I can revisit this at 7 tonight. He was postponing engagement, not demanding that worrying stop immediately. At first, Ethan's thoughts repeatedly returned before their scheduled appointment. He recorded them again, then redirected attention toward his current activity. During worry time, Ethan calmly reviewed everything he had written down. Some concerns still mattered, while others no longer felt equally urgent. For actionable problems, he wrote one specific step and scheduled it. For hypothetical worries, he practiced acknowledging that certainty remained unavailable today. Scheduled worry did not confine every concern perfectly within 15 minutes. It simply created boundaries around how Ethan engaged with reoccurring thoughts. The fourth skill involved carefully examining the evidence behind frightening predictions. This type of balanced evaluation is commonly practiced within cognitive behavioral therapy. Ethan divided a notebook page into evidence supporting each challenging prediction. His strongest prediction said, "The new position will become a disaster." Supporting evidence included uncertainty, unfamiliar colleagues, and a demanding probation period. Challenging evidence included positive interviews, experience, and strong professional references. Neither column could reveal exactly what the future would eventually bring. However, the exercise exposed information his fear had temporarily pushed aside. Ethan replaced his extreme prediction with something more balanced and believable. The change may feel difficult, but I can learn and adjust. Balanced thinking did not require pretending everything would become perfectly wonderful. It meant considering the complete picture instead of only feared possibilities. Ethan also asked what he would tell a close friend facing this. His answer sounded kinder, clearer, and more realistic than his self-talk. Four skills helped Ethan relate differently to his uncertain thoughts. Yet he remained stuck because he still wanted complete confidence first. The fifth skill was choosing one action guided by personal values. Ethan asked, which option better supports the life I genuinely value? He valued growth, creativity, financial stability, and time for meaningful relationships. Neither option promised certainty, comfort, or complete protection from future regret. However, one opportunity aligned more closely with Ethan's current priorities. He chose one practical action instead of another endless thinking session. Ethan contacted a former employee and asked three carefully prepared questions. Afterwards, he reviewed his evidence once and accepted remaining uncertainty. Then, Ethan accepted the new position before Friday's deadline finally arrived. His nervousness did not disappear immediately after pressing the send button, but he stopped treating discomfort as proof of a mistaken decision. These five skills cannot guarantee the complete disappearance of overthinking. They can help you notice spirals earlier and respond more intentionally. Name the thought, ground yourself, schedule worry, examine evidence, then act. Begin with one skill instead of trying to master everything immediately. If overthinking disrupts daily life, consider support from a qualified professional. Which of these five skills would you practice first? Comment and subscribe.